Let us talk about Bryophyta now. We have talked about Thallophyta, that was algae. Next we are going to talk about bryophytes. Now let us break the name again. First of all, bryo refers to mosses. Now what are mosses? It is the carpet, green carpet that you would find at the moist places. Have you ever seen that there is an ornamental stick around which the plants are growing? In case of somebody has a green thumb and is interested in gardening, you might have observed that a moss stick is used around which the ornamental plants grow. So that is moss. Otherwise you would see a proper carpet, green carpet sort of thing present over the moist wall, or you see the bryophytes which are growing in brooks and rest of the pebbles and big stones which are present. They have a layer of carpet like plants, that is, those are mosses. Now in the kingdom Plantae, we have further classification of bryophytes, and Bryophyta includes primarily the mosses and the liverworts. Now, why do we use this mosses and liverworts? When we see the plant body, firstly it is not going to be unicellular, they are going to be multicellular. Now, at this level we are going to rise above from thallus, and what we are going to see is we are going to find some organs which would be present. Now, because we are talking about plants, what organs can we find? It would be either a leafy structure or it would be roots. So, we do find rhizoids and the leaves which are in a coiled manner around the stem. Something like stem is present, the leaves are coiled, they are present in circular arrangement around the stem. The stem is not clearly stem because the plants are going to lack the vascular bundles. So, till now we do not find vascular bundles which are present. There won't be any vascular bundles present. What we have is rhizoids. Now, what are rhizoids? They are primitive roots, something which is like root but not root. It is performing the function of absorption. It is the main organ which is responsible for anchorage to the substratum. Now these are attached to the substratum, as I gave you in the beginning. The example that I gave you was that it is present like a carpet on the moist area. So that carpet formation, and when you push it or when you just apply some force over there, you see that carpet coming all together. It is coming out, and those rhizoids would be present. The leaves are also present in certain cases, and there are no vascular bundles. So this is what is the bird eye view of the characteristics of bryophytes if we see it in terms of kingdom Plantae. And next thing what we are going to see is that what it is all about. First thing that we have mentioned earlier, that these are amphibians of plant kingdom. Over there also I told you the same thing, that amphibians, they are dependent upon water for their reproductive needs, otherwise they can survive in terrestrial atmospheres. So the amphibians of plant kingdom are the bryophytes. They are present in two forms, mosses and liverworts, and apart from that we have another classification, that is of hornworts. Now our syllabus restrict us to the basic characterization and understanding about the alternation of generations. Now we had discussed about alternation of generations from the mitosis and meiosis and haploid and diploid point of view. Over here we are going to see it from the point of view where we have two terms, one is gametophyte and other is sporophyte. When we see these two terms, we get to know what bryophytes are all about. So, the bryophyte, let us take the example of Phaneria, or you can say Marchantia, any example, Riccia, whatever you want to take. The gametophyte and sporophyte are two stages of the life that this plant is having. It is going to show both gametophyte and sporophyte stage. Gametophyte happens to be haploid and sporophyte happens to be diploid. Now the spores are born on this sporophyte, and the spores which are formed, they are again haploid spores. You need to remember that the sporophyte, they form haploid spores. Now, because sporophyte is diploid, the spores formed inside the sporophyte are haploid. That means the cells of sporophyte which are diploid, they must have undergone meiosis, and meiosis is the reductional division that reduces the chromosome number to half, and we have haploid spores which are formed. These haploid spores are going to germinate and give rise to the gametophyte, and gametophyte is the main plant body. Now, as we talk that the bryophytes and the pteridophytes, they have haplodiplontic life cycle, what we are going to find that whenever we find a bryophyte, we are going to see both the gametophyte and sporophyte being present in the same plant body. Both the plant bodies would be present whenever we study a bryophyte. Now, let us understand how it is all about, and apart from how, what it is all about that we need to study. I hope I have made these terms clear to you. In case some of you are having any doubt with these terms, when we study the life cycle of Funaria with reference to the alternation of generation, you are going to understand it more. Now, talking about the gametophyte is the main plant body. This gametophyte is having that somewhat thalloid structure, and it would be spread across the substratum. That means it would be attached to the substratum. Something that is, supposedly this is the substratum, the leafy structure. This is the leafy structure, leafy stage, and it is prostate. When something is prostate, that means it is, supposedly I am standing right now, I am not prostate. If I lie down, then I would be prostate, in a prostate condition, and same is in the case of bryophytes where they have prostate leafy structure. Alright. This is in the case of hornworts and liverworts. Now, when we study this gametophyte and sporophyte, we are talking about the sexual reproduction primarily. We need to know that these bryophytes, they reproduce both sexually and asexually. So, first of all, talk about asexual reproduction. That would be again by the previous methods as seen in the earlier kingdoms, that is, they would be fragmentation and some asexual spores which are found in gamma cups. Okay, so the gamma cups are the organs which are present, or you can say that they are the parts of the leafy structure which have the asexual spores known as gammae, and these spores, they go and they germinate, and because the leafy structure is haploid, so the spores which are formed, they would also be haploid and they would germinate to give rise to a new plant. Now, in case of Funaria, for example, we have to understand the concept of gametophyte and sporophyte. First thing that you need to know, that the gametophyte has sex organs which are present. The male sex organ is known as antheridium, and the female sex organ would be known as archegonium. Two new names, antheridium and archegonium. Now, inside these two sex organs, they would be present in the plant body itself. Which plant body? I am talking about gametophyte. They will have gametangia in them. That is, gametangia is the place where the gametes would be formed. Now, inside the gametangia of both, the antheridium will have antheridio4 archegonium. This is going to have egg, and these are going to have entherozoids. So, we get introduced to the names of gametes which are formed inside the antheridium and the archegonium. These are the sex organs, these are the gametes which are formed. The gamete, male gamete is known as entherozoid and the female gamete is known as egg. Now, there is a stalk bearing antheridio4. So, in case you come across the term antheridio4 and archegonio4, these two terms are referring to the stalks which arise from the leafy structure, and supposedly this is and Archegonium, and this is the Anthridium. So this particular stalk-like thing would be, this is because this is Archegonium, so this would be Anthridiophore and this would be Archegoniophore. So these are the stalks which are present. Pictorially it would be more clear for you, but now just understand that on the Anthridiophore there would be Anthridium, inside the Anthridium there would be Antherozoids, and on the Archegoniophore there would be Archegonium present at the tip, and inside it there would be eggs which are present. Now this part is present in the gametophyte, that means some part of the plant body which is haploid has given rise to gametangia, and those gametangia are Anthridium and Archegonium where the gametes are formed. Now the gametes are haploid, as you can see, because the plant body is haploid. When these haploid gametes, they come in contact with each other, they undergo fertilization, and as I told you, these are bryophytes, are amphibians of the plant kingdom, so they would need water for that. So there is fertilization from these, there is fertilization that takes place. Now as a result of fertilization, a zygote is formed, right? Now zygote by default is diploid. This zygote, instead of undergoing meiosis, it develops into sporophyte. Now the sporophyte is present on the gametophyte itself. It grows, there is a leafy structure which is present in the form of gametophyte. From that leafy structure there arises a sporophyte. Inside the sporophyte there is meiosis which takes place, and the zygote gives rise to sporophyte that we discussed. This sporophyte would form spores which are formed as a result of meiosis, and these spores, they further germinate to give rise to the gametophyte. So you see that the gametophyte over here is the free living plant, while the sporophyte is dependent upon the gametophyte for its nutritional needs. So this is all about bryophytes that we need to understand, that they have haplodiplontic life cycle. Yes, they do have that. They have gametophyte and sporophyte which alternate with each other in their life cycle. There is a sporophyte which is dependent upon the gametophyte. The gametophyte is having rhizoids and leaf-like structure, the sex organs which are present inside the bryophytes, and the asexual methods which are present. Now apart from that, you need to know their economic importance as well. You know, they are very much capable of storing water in them, as in the case of sponges. You see, they can store water. You see a sponge, it stores water in itself. So is in the case of bryophytes, that the mosses are capable of storing water in them, and they make an important storage material. Apart from that, there is a peat moss which is an important source of coal, that is peat, and there is a sphagnum that gives that peat it acts as peat moss, and these are again, once again, as lichens are the pioneers, mosses are also pioneer in the ecological succession processes. So this is all about, it's not that brief, but yes, we have a bird eye view of what bryophytes are all about and what is there.